Hi folks, Rodney back again with Rodney's Northwest Riding Reviews. I've got 6,500 miles on my Tacoma now, and I thought it'd be a good time to kind of give an update, not only on the truck, but then also the BF Goodrich KO3 tires. I'm going to talk about the truck for a few minutes, kind of tell you my ownership experience, and then maybe talk about some of the features and maybe answer a few questions that you guys may have. So anyway, this is a 2024 Tacoma TRD Off-Road. It does have the TRD Off-Road upgrade package. So with that, you get the moonroof, you get the JBL audio system, you've got the heated seats, and then of course it's going to have power seats on both the driver and passenger side. With the TRD Off-Road package, excuse me, I forgot to mention the parking sensors both front and rear. But with the TRD Off-Road package, you're going to get the skid plate. Now, skid plate, hopefully you can see this. Skid plate looks like it's like a hard plastic, so I'm not sure how much protection it actually gives you, but you've got skid plate not only under the front, but you got it under the transfer case and then also under the fuel tank. Just talk about overall experience so far. I really like the truck. I had a 2022 Tundra before this, and then I just got rid of it and got this about 6 months ago. The biggest thing I had to adjust to is obviously there's a lot less space, meaning cargo space, inside the vehicle. So that was a little bit of a getting used to. As far as drive and handling, the truck itself rides really smooth, and I really like that aspect. The older generation Tacoma had a tendency to kind of wander on the road, and so if you've ever driven one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But every time you would hit a little groove in the road, it would want to kind of pull that direction or just seem to kind of wander. I put BF Goodrich KO2 tires on that last Tacoma that I had, and it really kind of exacerbated it. Really, every groove that you would hit, it would pull hard into that groove. And then of course it changed the ride quality of the truck as well. Now these are the BF Goodrich KO3 tires, and so they're a softer carcass than what was on the KO2s, and the rubber compound I would say is probably softer as well. I do notice that it doesn't ride near as rough as what the KO2s did. Part of that could be the aspect of the newer generation. I do know that they have hydraulic cab mounts, and so that does isolate some of it as well. But with these BF Goodrich KO3s, the one thing that I really notice in the summertime when it's hot out, these are like butter smooth. And I've never noticed that with the tire before. The KO2s seem to kind of be the same no matter whether it's wintertime or summertime. You just had, because it was a heavy duty tire, every time you'd hit a bump, it would really, kind of send a shock through the truck there. But don't notice that on these KO3s. Tread pattern's a lot closer together. I say a lot closer. It is closer together than what it was when the KO2s. The one downfall and one gripe I have about these tires, and if you've seen any of my videos in the past, it picks up rock pebbles. And so here's an example. Obviously that's a real small one there, but here's another one here. The tread pattern is close enough that on the smaller rocks, it has a tendency to just kind of pick them up and keep them there. Now I have noticed that, it doesn't eject them right away. So even though there's ejectors right here, that's not typically where you pick up the rocks at. It's on this inside tread, and there's no injectors in there. So it has a tendency to hold the rocks. I do have factory mud guards. Unfortunately, they're not wide enough. Now, I will back up for a moment. So these are BF Goodrich KO3s, but they're a 285 70R 17 tire. So they're a little bit wider than the factory tire. The big gripe that I have, all these rock chips. So mud guards that come from the factory are not wide enough. And then the way this flares out right here is another big reason that it picks up those rock chips. This only applies to the 5-foot bed. So if you get one with a 6-foot bed, you pick up another foot, but the way it comes back is kind of more sloped, and it's not as pronounced as what it would be right here. So anyway, that part is different. As far as performance, I really like the performance on the truck. The one big difference that you notice with this versus the V6 is the torque comes in a lot quicker. So it comes in around 1700 RPMs. And so when you hit a mountain pass or if you start towing anything, you really notice how much of a difference it actually is in this compared to the previous generation. Got traffic coming through. I'll give you just a second. All right, I'm going to talk about something is my fault more than anything else, but I'm really surprised about it. So I have hard water spots on the windows, and I know that, you know, sometimes they use like a real soft steel wool to take water spots off. And so I was reading, and it says that Scotch-Brite is safe, and I'm thinking, okay, Scotch-Brite, something you wash your dishes or scrub your dishes with, and you can use it for many different things. So I read on the internet that it was safe for windows. So I scrubbed the water spots on my windshield. Windows have never been so clean. However, I don't know if you can see this, but I actually scratched the windows. So my fault for not doing more research on it. But I was really kind of frustrated about that because I don't know, though, they just putting just a really soft windshield in there, or is Scotch-Brite not good for any windows? No, don't know why they would put on the internet that it was and then not have it be, but it could be that it's just the glass that they're putting in these Tacomas that's softer than normal. I'm not sure. I do have a Cinetic USA tonneau cover. I love this tonneau cover. I've had several different tonneau covers. I've had one from Toyota factory. This one, you know, there wasn't many available on the Tacoma when it first came out. And so this is one of the few companies that did have. It is adjustable. And so because it is adjustable, it works not only on the previous gen Tacoma, but it also works on this Tacoma, even though the bed's shaped a little bit differently. But it is a retractable. You got two locks on here to lock it in place. And it just makes it nice to be able to slide forward. I noticed that, you know, this compared to most tonneau covers, it's not completely water resistant, but it does seal out a lot more water than what a lot of them do. So I've really enjoyed that so far. If you guys have never, so when you get a new Tacoma, it comes with a pin that goes in this hitch, and you'll find it in the glove box. You have to use that pin. The reason for it is the framework on this hitch itself is wider than the normal one would be. So if you try to use the standard pin, it's not going to be long enough. So when you find that in the glove box, don't throw it away. You're absolutely going to have it. But anyway, there's a lot of features about this truck that I really like. You know, it has a built-in integrated brake controller, and that's nice. I mean, it will tow 6,400 pounds. You know, it's not often that you're gonna be towing that much weight where you need trailer brakes, but it's definitely nice to have it already built into it. And then you can go in and adjust. You can set the gain, you know, digitally or manually, whichever you prefer. But then it also will keep track of the trailers that you have. So when you hook up, when you go to plug it in, it's gonna ask you which trailer, if you have multiple that you're connecting to, and everything's already pre-programmed. I do have a gripe as far as the infotainment system. So had similar issues with my Tundra, and I think it's just an infotainment issue with Toyota. But when you connect Apple CarPlay, let's say you go to back up, Apple CarPlay will come up, but as soon as you put it in reverse, you go to back up. As soon as you take it out of reverse and it goes back into drive, it goes back to a navigation screen. And basically what it looks like is it's trying to get you to subscribe to it. So that's kind of frustrating. I don't know why it wouldn't just go right back to Apple CarPlay without you having to, you know, just go back and hit the Apple CarPlay button. But for whatever reason, it does that. Fuel economy. So I know everybody's fuel economy is going to be different. You know, everybody's situation, depending on whether you drive mostly highway, mostly in town, you know, elevation will have something to do with it too. The fuel is going to have something to do with it. So for instance, you know, the fuel that you get at the higher elevation, say around Denver, is going to be totally different than what it would be down here at sea level. But what I get for just normal, just daily driving, I get 18.6. Now I don't do a lot of just straight drive, don't do a lot of straight freeway. But I did notice that my fuel economy was starting to go up as I was making a trip down here to my hometown. And so I'm sure it does a little bit better out on the highway if you're running just nothing but highway. The tires, these are a heavier tire than what comes standard on the vehicle. So the standard tire is a BF Goodrich Terrain, I think they call it Terrain Terra. And that is a lighter tire. When you pick up these tires versus what comes on the truck, these are quite a bit heavier. Now they say the standard air pressure is 32. And I've seen a lot of trucks when they come in, they're gonna have higher air pressure than what's recommended. And you know, I noticed when I first got this, mine was the same way. It had like 50 pounds of pressure in it. And so when I drove it, I'm like, man, this is harsh. And I'm talking about the original tires that came with the truck. And so I went in there checking to find out what it was supposed to be. And I saw that it was supposed to be 32. And I'm like, that seems really low, but let's go ahead and go to what it recommends and see how it rides. And it totally changed the ride of the truck. Now I had a viewer here recently come back and say, well, the reason they have such low or such high pressure coming from the factory is so that they don't bounce around as much when they're on a rail car. I don't know that I believe that. I don't know. He could be exactly right. But I've seen many, keep in mind, I've been in the auto industry for 25 years, but I've never seen a car come in on like a passenger car or something that had extremely high pressure just so it would not bounce around on a rail car. So take that for what it's worth. But anyway, what I would say is that if you feel like the ride is harsh in your truck, be sure and check the tire pressure on it. It may mean that you need to go and to adjust it, and it will totally change the ride of the vehicle. The other thing too is that instead of being able to pull up a tire pressure PSI on the screen, and I'm talking about the dash, instead of doing it that way, Toyota's got it set up where you can go in there and you can pull it up for a little while, but as soon as you shut the truck off, excuse me, that pressure system is going to go away. So you won't be able to see the screen unless you go back into it and search for it again. They do have a tire pressure warning system, and you can actually set it up. I think it was set for 30, 32, or 35 PSI. And so obviously when you set it at whatever you want to preset it for, once it drops below that pressure, it will automatically come on with a sensor and let you know, and it will physically show you which tire is low compared to the others. I think that is kind of it. Like I said, I really enjoy the truck. I enjoy the performance. Fuel economy, in the first probably 2,000 miles, you're not going to get the best fuel economy. And I say, you know, some people may see things differently, but you know, that's just what I noticed. It took right about 2,000 miles where it felt like the engine and turbo just really loosened up. And that's when I really started to see my fuel economy start to pick up quite a bit. So, you know, as I mentioned, I'm running 18.7. If you guys put bigger tires on your truck, go back and I won't say recalibrate. I would say it doesn't change the speed that much, but I would go back and if you're trying to figure out what accurate fuel economy is, you got to take into consideration that with a larger tire, you're traveling a further distance. So I'll give you an example. So these compared to the factory tires, my fuel economy is 0.6 miles per gallon better than what it was showing there, just based on the additional distance that we're traveling. So keep that in mind, and you'd probably be a little bit more pleased and don't feel like you've really lost a lot of fuel economy based on that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just want to give you just a quick update. If you have any questions, any comments, go on ahead and send them my way. Take the time to like and subscribe if you like this information. I am a salesperson for a Toyota dealership, and so we run into, you know, obviously a lot of different models, a lot of different vehicles, and so I am doing reviews quite a bit. But you know, if you have questions, you know, like I said, send them my way. If I don't have an answer for you, I'll try to get it the best I can, and then, you know, quickly respond back to you. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed.